Good evening, fellas. What's going on?
Good evening.
So,
Uh, Greg Nutso
Well,
joining us tonight.
yeah.
Very glad
Well,
to see you, my friend.
Yeah,
I'm
Welcome.
very happy to be here.
you're going to start a streak.
Hot streak. He's on fire.
2 in a row. Don't call it a comeback.
You know what's sad is that people already noticed that y'all bully me,
oh wow,
and
you
they
said that
they
to
asked
me.
they asked me about it. Yeah, they were like, "How come they give you so much?" Uh, you know,
Who's the one person who asked you that when you say they?
lady that we work with.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. Can we take a
Yeah,
pause real quick?
people say who's the one person who said that to you? Come on.
And on top of that, did they really say we bully you?
She did. Yeah, and I was like, "It's because I'm the youngest," and she was like, "I figured that."
Mhm.
That is such not so nice.
But it's so true.
All right. Anyway, can we just go ahead and deal with the most
I was ready to
important?
run down the list of all of the things that I could say
You know
why
what I'm
he
saying?
perceived to be bullied, and then I refrained.
Yo.
I refrained. There were so many things that I wanted to say. Like we're bullying, man. We holding them accountable. Whoever you are, he's being held accountable. That's it.
Exactly. Bully.
That's
I
it.
can, I can show you a bully now. And then we're far from bullies. But I ain't no punk. Anyway.
All right. You're welcome, guys. That was our intro. Welcome to the Four Wise Men show.
Yo. This is gonna be one of them nights. Yes, indeed. Anyway, tonight's wonderful topic. We're dealing with parent care. What it's like to be our age, where we're in the middle of our years in life, as they say, where we're parenting our kids, but our parents are getting to the age where they need a little more assistance from us. So, with that in tail, um, you want to start off, D Smooth? You want me to start off, or
Yeah, we can do whatever.
Can't be whatever. I told y'all I'm here to listen and learn on this one, fellas. So I'll have questions, but
So, as we have gotten older, as I don't drink my tea at night, Greg, keep me up in the morning or keep me up all night.
He can't even have Lipton, bro.
No,
Iced tea, none of that.
no. I've become more consciously aware as I've older. So,
He drink a 6-pack of Nestea and he said, "Let's go. It's a MASH marathon, baby."
give me
that's so terrible.
124.
The Briscoe.
Give me season 1.
Go ahead, stop. Go ahead, Damien. I'm listening, bro.
No, you're good, man. No, as we are older gentlemen, there are things. Don't use your pinky. You could be a gentleman without using your pinky.
That's how they do it in London.
No, that's not how they do it in London.
oh my gosh!
Go
All
ahead,
right,
go
can you let the man speak? Good lord!
No, so as like I said, we're getting older. More things that I'm becoming more aware of, and more thing that I'm thinking about as far as future goes. Being 50 years old, and my parents being in their mid to late 70s, and just kind of realizing that as I watch them, my dad is in the middle of a bit of a health issue himself, uh, suffering from early dementia, I guess. And then not only that piece, but the toll that it takes on my mom, who's in her 70s. So that kind of stress and that kind of work that goes into that, causes her to be on certain medications to keep her anxiety levels down, because she's now with someone she doesn't always entirely recognize. So there are moments where everything's fine, and then there are moments where he is not himself. He is, very angry. He'll throw things. He'll be aggressive, in the sense of slamming doors, and he recalls something from 20 years ago and thinks it happened 5 days ago. So, and he doesn't take medication. He refuses to take medication. So, we try to navigate and work around that piece. But, as I sit here and I'm looking at myself, and at 50 years old, what's it going to look like in 20 years? My health, and, are we prepared in a sense of, what if we need to be able to be self-reliant if the kids bolt on us? I think Noah will probably be around and help, and Josh will just be waiting for the insurance money, I guess. No, it's just, people are just built a certain way, and my mom is a tower of strength for having to work with that. And one of the first things she said to me was, when I said, look, I'll come up, one day a week and help out and do what I can, get you out of the house so you can maintain some type of normal living. And she made the comment of, this isn't your problem. This is, I'm not putting that on my kids. And I had to remind her that, we're a family. It's a problem. It's all of our problem. And not one person can do this alone. So, it's been a bit of a challenge in trying to navigate what's going to work best and that. But yeah, there's a line in a Who song that says, I hope I die before I get old. And, you kind of think of it in one way and go, man, I hope to live as long as I can possibly live. But on the other hand, you also look at it and go, well, what type of life am I living if I'm 90 something years old and I can't be self-reliant on myself? You know what I mean? So, it's just, it becomes more in focus. It becomes more of a scary thing. I know we make jokes, just going up the stairs and your knees crack or your back hurts or whatever, but there's going to come a day where, it's going to require more than our own self-mobility and strength to get around. And yeah, man, it's not an easy thing to think about, but we all get there, hopefully, to at least an age where we've lived a good life and many years behind us.
Nah, I understand that a lot. And actually I've heard this conversation multiple times. And we have a parent employee resource group at my job, and it's a parent, but we turned it into parent and caregivers because we realized that many of us, after talking about it, many of us are not just parents, but you are caregivers to your parents, right? And what does that look like? How do you feel? And we talk about the different stuff, and so there is a lot of that sentiment. It's like you're looking at your parents, trying to figure this all out, and then you're looking at yourself, and you're like, oh, I need to get myself, I need to get this stuff in order. I need to,
right.
We've had big talks about wills and trust, and where's your finances? How's your finances set up? I know we had one young, I would say one young lady, but someone of the same age talking about, hey, she does what she dealt with, losing her mother, and like, hey, if you don't have a trust, how going through the probate and all that stuff, all this stuff that comes up at being at this age and having to think about and deal with our parents, you know. So it's like we're parenting and then we're kind of assisting. I'm not going to say we're parenting our parents, but we happen to be, you know, more
Sometimes.
assisting. Huh?
Sometimes we parent our parents.
Sometimes you got to parent to parent. And I find it interesting too, D, as you talk about it, right? Because you know your mom and dad are together. My mom is, of course, she's single, and then
Right.
of course my dad is remarried. I'm like, if my dad died and and his wife, she would never tell us that he died. I just know that that's not gonna happen. That's just how I feel. Like my dad would die, and she'd be like, I'd be calling, leaving messages, and she'd be like, she might answer the phone. Oh, he's in the bathroom, or you know, say something off wall. But
I forget to call you.
Exactly. You know, but you know, having my mom who's single, and then of course my mother-in-law as well. You know, a lot of stuff happens. You know, I don't know if I told y'all, but when my mother-in-law lived in Woodbridge, she had fell and she damaged her knee, and Tamara literally had to rush out, and that's 45 minutes from here to there, and and what that does to the house, right? It throws the whole schedule off, these unexpected trips, and then whatever may cost, sometimes there's a cost to this, whatever have you, but those are some of the things you don't think about until you're in the thick of it, trying to figure it out. And then
do you have your affairs in order?
Huh?
I said, do you have your affairs in order?
No, sir. We started. I actually need to finish. Actually, I think I still have a free setup for a will trust, but I think it's about to expire. So I need to finish that so that we can have.
Y'all definitely need to be ready before you go to Mexico. That, all jokes aside, the worst could happen, bro. They not only is your stuff crazy over here, but you're in Mexico,
bro. I feel more at risk here in Mexico. I'll be 100%. Yo, on real truth, yo, I feel more. It feels more hectic here in this rat race we have here than I will feel being over there. You know what I'm saying? Folks will be less hesitant to roll up on me over there than they are here. I promise you. You know what I'm saying? But no, we need to take a quick moment and just finish, like you say, getting those things in order, because I mean that is a critical piece that we don't talk about enough. You know what I mean? We don't talk about finances. We don't talk about this, that, and the third, but definitely that portion, because like when you have kids and you have parents, and and we've definitely had these conversations with our mothers, like, hey, have you done due diligence? And they've said yes. So you just have to take it for what they say, right? Like, show me. Can't do that.
I told, my parents made me, I guess, executive, whatever it is, for when they go. They ain't going to rely on my brother, so I've got to navigate that. But they were like, this. Here's the financial guy. This is all the information you need. This and that. And I looked at her. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago, obviously before the stuff with my dad. And I said, I hope you don't leave me a dime. I hope I get nothing. I hope that you spend every single dollar that you have saved and live your life to the absolute fullest. Do whatever you want, whenever you want. You have no commitments, really. You're in your early 70s at this point. Just go travel, go do anything, spend it. Just do it all. Enough to either bury you or burn you. That's it. That's it. Everything else, I hope you spend every single dollar you have. You worked, damn near all your life. You should enjoy it to the best of your ability.
I laugh, but I mean that is a real thing. Like, yeah, can you go ahead and set a little bit aside and take care of that?
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, because that can run for anywhere from like 7 G's to like, I'm
Yep.
like, how much? For real?
Look, Ange. So at first, I've changed my mind on this, but at first, when Ange asked me, I told her, I said, listen, I want to be buried above ground because I'm going to need all the help I can get to heaven. So I need to be above the dirt.
Don't bury me at a bus stop.
Right. I was like, stone, like, tombs that sit above the ground,
Mhm.
and she was like, oh, like what, one of those fancy, ones they have in New Orleans. I was like, it doesn't even have to be fancy. Like, you could literally just put a concrete slab that I'm in, and we can go from there.
What was that stuff in Star Wars? That they had Han Solo in?
Carbonite.
You're gonna be like,
frozen carbonite. Yeah. But you can put that on there, like this,
gotta have his Pirates jersey on.
Yeah,
That's too
whatever.
funny.
But I saw the special where I guess they were doing it like mausoleums and things where people that were not buried in the ground, there sometimes could be loose bodily juices that can escape from the body
Mhm.
that can leak out. And I said, well, I don't want any of that. So at this point, just throw me on the fire and get me done, because I don't want anybody messing with my juices coming out of the thing. So, but yeah, I was like,
Yo.
whatever's cheapest.
Oh my gosh, yo, man. Oh, yo, he said, "Don't mess with my juices." That's too funny, right? Yo, that is too funny. Nah, I just, my mom said cremate. I want to be cremated. My mother-in-law I think wants to be cremated, but she wants her ashes out by the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Tamara wants the same. I want to say,
Yeah.
I'm like, look, I'm not one of those. So once you cremate me, whatever you do is what you do. I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
I just told my parents, I told my kids the same thing. I said, cremate me and throw me in the trash. I don't care. I don't want to have that bill for them, I want them to just be able to celebrate my
this
life
is a cost.
business.
Bro,
Yeah,
this
but
is to be cremated.
no, but it's less to get cremated than it is to get buried.
Yeah. Yep. Big time.
Which I still think was crazy. You gotta pay just to throw me in a barbecue? Come on, man.
Yep.
It's really that simple. I don't know if I told y'all, but our bearded dragon died, and I cremated him on the grill.
Did you really?
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Oh,
I'm done. Are we done?
Hold
Are we
on.
done now? We're done, right? We're done here, right? We're not. Yo,
I cremated my bearded dragon.
Are you
on
going
the
to get
grill.
the ashes, Greg?
yo, I'm out.
Yes,
Yo, we're done on that note.
He's gonna be bringing this golden urn with a dragon head on it. Like, don't tell me you have a golden urn. Look
I
at
want y'all to say hello to Mark.
Oh, see, come on.
Hey, man.
Hey, what is it? Is it what's the show on HBO? The
6 feet under.
no, the Dragon House or
Game of Thrones.
yeah, House of Dragons.
House of Dragons. House of Dragons.
Oh, the new one. Yeah. No, man, you got to show respect. But Back
Did
to
you have
talking
a
about the
ceremony?
parents, though. Huh?
Did you have a ceremony?
We did.
Yeah.
I'll show you guys the video and everything. It was great.
So
I have
listen.
a playlist,
Oh, you got a playlist. So you did the whole.
and I miss my dogs. Damn, what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I really miss my homies. Even though they're gone away.
Did you pour out some liquor?
No, I
Oh.
didn't have any.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
back to
back,
You know,
all the way back,
if I rub it like this, I get 3 wishes.
all the way back to where we were and talking about our parents. And
and being parents.
huh?
I said, and being parents.
And being parents. And it's real interesting being in this phase of life where it's like you have this dual thought process, you know, like I got to take care of these little ones until they get to of age, and I mean, there's always a care and concern, right? There's always that, but now it's not that you didn't care, have concern for your parents. It's just different, and you feel a little more weight to make sure that you're in tune. You know what they got going on. Hey, are you doing what you need to do for you?
Well, because most don't have anybody else, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like my mothers, our mothers don't have anyone else, and even dealing with siblings, some siblings are not quite in tune to everything. They will act like and talk like they are, but they're really not. Like when it's time to get into the nitty gritty, they be like, "Hey, you gonna do that? You gonna do that, right?"
My
Well,
brother told me straight up, he said, I'll pay for stuff.
Right. But guess what though? At least he's honest though. He told you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
fam, don't dog. Just just tell me how much it's gonna cost, or this is my how much I'm contributing to the process. You know what I'm saying? At least you get that, right? Because I mean it sucks because I mean, like I said, I mean, I've had a coworker literally. Whoo. So the dad moved in with him, was creating a super stress on his house. So he was like, okay, we need to move dad. And the 5 other siblings were like, oh no, we can't move dad into a facility. Okay, well, whose house he gonna move in? Everybody got quiet.
Right.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, everyone's got 2-bedroom apartments and they can't make
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody got quiet. But then it was like, okay, well then we're moving to. Oh no, we can't do that. I'm sorry. You say I can't do one thing, but then when I ask you for the other side, everyone's quiet. Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just dealing with I mean, her dad's 80. Her mom's getting ready to have hip surgery, and she's the closest one. Her brother lives in Richmond, so most of the responsibility is going to fall on her. So she's going to be in the same situation. She's going to be navigating not only being a parent to kids and a wife, but also a caretaker to her parents, for however long, forever, for foreseeable future. I mean, hip surgery in your late 70s is not an easy bounce back. So, I mean, yeah.
I mean, what they say the timetable is? Did they give them?
I don't know. I don't know the details, but I mean, it's
unique to every patient.
Right.
Some people heal faster than others, but even if you are, somebody who heals fast, your age slows that down.
For sure. I mean, you have that hip surgery, then you got to see if it takes well. Then
you have your physical
therapy, and then then you got to feel what it's like to, oh my gosh, why do I have this ache? It's like, yeah, man, being in this phase of life is it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
it's rewarding in some sense because you gain more perspective on important things, right? Like you
True.
start get that, but then the flip side is those important things are now extra weights that you're going to carry. You know, to try to figure out ways to make everything work. You know, not only your own life, but take care of others. So
I just hope that everyone learn from their experiences and prepare earlier for their kids. And I say that because I saw my parents go through their experiences with their parents, and now I'm, almost 40, and I'm begging them to fill out their paperwork and show me X, Y, and Z while they're still coherent. Because my mother tried to get my grandmother to sign power of attorney for her when she was already in the facility, and she was fighting her because all she could think was that my mom was trying to steal her money. And it's like, Grandma, you don't have any money. But on top of that, if this would have already been done, we wouldn't have to be worried about it. So I tell my mom, because she's the one who's back and forth to the hospital the most, like, yo, get your stuff. And she's like, I'm going to do it. I'm not even that old yet, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I had to repeat the story about my first day at work to you already 3 times. And today's my second day at work. Do the paperwork. It's not funny because it's true.
You the one who's making the joke, bro.
No,
it's not a joke. It's true. It happened.
But what's crazy is like I tie that into my own life. It's like, didn't I just tell you that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That video of that woman who rolled in the dead person to the bank
to get a loan, and she was holding his hand to sign the papers.
sign away his money. He was already dead.
What?
If that was in America, she would have been under the jail, because that's a federal offense, elder abuse. And then the fact that you're in a federally insured institution, which is the bank, then it's federal charges.
Yep. Yeah.
Are you serious? She took the dead person to the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This was in Argentina or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember where, but I was like,
wow.
Man.
Okay.
Look, she said, weekend at Bernie's.
Yep.
That's crazy, man.
Yo, that's crazy right there.
Kind of
That's
popped up
crazy.
so she can use the HOV lane. She's got him sitting up in the window. So she can use the HOV.
But you know what? But you want to know what's even crazier is that he's not kicking off a heat signature, so it might not be even recognized.
They don't use heat signatures, bro.
They're using one down by Franconia now.
Bro, they are using. Yo, they got heat signatures going on in that joint.
I got a letter once that said we couldn't determine whether or not there was a third person in the car. There wasn't, but nonetheless, because it was like 11 o'clock at night. But yeah, their sensors, their heat sensors.
Bro, that's news to me.
Because there's a couple times like we've ridden with Riley in the car, and they're like, "Oh, we didn't recognize there being a third." No. There was 3 people in the vehicle. Y'all need to refund me my money. Stop playing. Oh yeah, you gotta look at them freaking pass, because they be trying to hit you for it, and they'll hit you later, like the next month. I'm like, what is this charge for? No, and you gotta replay in your mind. You're like,
$150.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, we ain't doing that. But yeah. So parents,
it's difficult, man. It's difficult because they want to fight you all the time. We don't need your help. And I'm like, okay, get home. Hey, can you come over on Tuesday? And I told y'all I was licking batteries. Come on, man.
It's funny because I have one mother that insists on having help for everything, and then I have another one that wants to do everything herself. And it's like, you can't. And can you do it just a little bit? It's like trying to find that fine line. Like, are some things you can do, and then I need you to stop doing those things. It's like, God, dog. Can we get a fine line between the both of y'all? Like,
Can you get the peanut butter down off the top shelf? Last time I put it on the bottom. How to get up there again?
exactly.
Oh
And you ain't
my
supposed to be
God.
stepping on the steps in the first place.
Right.
How the hell to get up there?
It was in the way. I can't get my honey if the peanut butter isn't. Can you just do it for me? You already here.
Yo,
You know how many times I told my parents, I'm not coming back over here. I'm not. Because y'all don't appreciate, y'all don't care about nothing. And I'm back there the next day.
Yeah, of course.
exactly. I mean,
Next
that's
day.
you already know. No matter how cranky, tired, frustrated, all that stuff, you're like, yes, I'll be there tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
Yo, it's sad because I'll be bullshitting. Because my parents, they'll be like, oh, we're going to wake up early on Saturday and we're going to do blah, blah, blah in the yard. So be here at 10. Okay. I get there at 2 o'clock. They in the bed. We were waiting on you. Okay.
Right. If you would have got there at 10, they would have got up.
They would have got up at 11.
False.
Right.
False.
They would have got up at 11.
No, that's why when y'all come over to shoot the podcast, I just be getting dressed. That's how I was raised.
There it is.
Oh, that's yeah, no, right? That's how we doing this. Oh, that's how we doing this. That's just horrible and tragic. Wow, you just going straight out blame the parents.
Wonder Greg was showing up to work at like 10 o'clock when he was supposed to be there at 9:30.
Hey, man, she said I could come in at 9.
Yeah, 9.
Could.
You could.
So there's a huge implying like 9. It's a gentle 9.
You could come in at 9. You could also
Toby.
come at 9:45.
I was supposed to be there at in Chantilly at 8:30.
Greg would get to work at 9:30.
Mm.
And then be coming to me like, Toby, they
He's like,
fussing.
"It's Central Standard Time."
What do you mean they're fussing? Yo, like they don't understand. I gotta make this hour. Okay, and what's the problem?
But the
You
shift
know-
was over at 5 o'clock, and I wouldn't leave that joint till 7:30 because I was dedicated.
That's right.
No, that's because you got to work late.
Shut up.
That's because he got to work late, and so he had to stay late. That's really what it's about. He had to work them hours, and actually,
Nah, man.
and honestly, to be truthful, he stayed that late so that he could avoid the traffic. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I tried to get him to do. Like, why don't you just negotiate your hours later?
I did, and they said no.
I know.
So he
Because of
negotiated.
the No. Because of the client that I worked for. I was assigned to a specific client, and the client had specific hours, so I was supposed to be there for them. It made sense. They weren't being mean to me.
Okay.
But yeah, man. Now,
You have retirement set up now?
who, me?
Yeah.
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Well, we're on the topic of taking care of,
No, for me, I'm not concerned about the financial aspect. I have my health insurance. I mean, not the health insurance. I got my life insurance policy. That should cover everything they need. I intend to have a trust, like we were talking about, which is funny because I learned about trusts when I was working in the service desk in Chantilly, Toby, because they were talking. Everybody owns guns, and they were, going around the table. It was like, "Oh, how many guns do you have? How many guns do you have?" And there's one dude who's talking about shooting all the time. He was like, "I don't own any guns." Like, bro, you go to the range every week. He was like, "Yeah, but my trust owns the guns. Everybody has access to the guns who's, part of our family, but nobody owns the guns." And I was like, that's gangster. So if only for that purpose, I'm going to have a trust. But legitimately, you don't want your kids to have to be running around looking for paperwork and stuff. If the
Yeah.
trust exists, you have your lawyer contacts them and just tells them if they don't already know what to expect. Because when you have a trust, everybody knows about it and utilizes it on a regular basis.
Greg, did
Shut
you
up.
say you go get a trust so you can put the guns in the trust?
Yeah. So, on the day that I get caught riding dirty, hey, I don't own none of these. None of these are mine.
This is my lady. She doesn't belong to me. She belongs to the trust.
Damien, if you only knew how on point that was.
Yo, anyway.
Anybody can use them.
Whoa, wow.
The guns.
Okay.
The guns.
All right. Anyway,
The guns.
Anyway.
So
Oh my.
The guns.
I don't even know. So in the course of this evening, it's important to do a will, get a trust, pick one that works best for you, have the tough conversations with your parents, make sure that
Tell your kids what kind of illnesses you have and that you're dealing with. So it's not a surprise when you talk to the doctors.
yes, when it's time and they can comprehend.
They're gonna be stubborn. They're not gonna wanna, put that kind of burden on you in the sense that they have.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Talking about what you touching base on what you said earlier about your mom saying this is not your problem. My mom said this similar thing to me, and I'm like, at the end of the day, my dad is your husband, but he's my father. Like, you can't tell me that I'm not supposed to be here, and vice versa. Like, you can't tell me, because the same way that I watched you guys, usher your parents into the next stage of life, that's my job. That's my responsibility. And even if it weren't a job or responsibility, it's something I want to do because I love y'all. I care about y'all.
But one thing you have to
perspective of her life, right? Like her
exactly.
life, and that's why you have to, kind of broaden that horizon with them, because you're like, yeah, I realize that, you're 50 years together, you've built this life, you've got your bubble, and you're taking on this responsibility as that's your partner, right? In sickness and in health, but overall, you built a family out of that 50 years. And, that's where the additional, help and responsibility is going to come from.
But I think that's a challenge too for our parents to accept our help, or to even say, I need help. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you start losing that sense of independence, when you've had it for so long.
Yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden now, it's not that I ask, like, it's one thing to ask for help, to say, hey, can you help me? Right. But now it's not help me. Can you do it for me? You know what I'm saying? So that humbling that has to happen, I got to imagine it's tough. You know what I'm saying? If you're not used to asking someone to say, hey, help me do, it's because it's no longer help me. It's, I need you to do this for me. You know what I'm saying?
Do you remember, go ahead, turn that channel for me? They didn't have no problem then. Well, the remote is right there. I want you to do it.
Angela's dad will call her up and go, I need you to fix my Netflix. I need you to fix my I need you to fix my I need you to fix, I need you to come up here and I can't log on, and it's like, I have this index card with my passwords on it. It's like, that index card looks 7 years old. Like, you probably changed the passwords 20 times. Like, we're just gonna have to start from scratch.
Toby, you know how many times I used remote access to help my parents on their computer when I was working in Chantilly?
All the time.
Like, all the time. It's like, yo, just install this on your computer because I'm not coming over there. It takes 30 seconds. Oh, somebody's moving my mouse. That's me. That's me.
Yeah. Why is my screen moving?
Well, we're climbing down here to the end. Do you have any words of wisdom?
No, man, I told you getting on here. So my perspective on it is a little different. Not anything different than well, I wanted to be respectful of, I think, what everybody else is experiencing, and as you guys are experiencing these things, yeah, my dad died, so he wasn't in my life. He died in '98,
Right.
so he's been dead for a long time. My mom is in her late 60s. So my mom had me when she was 18. So she's late 60s. So she looked like that for Greg.
Cause my mom in her late 60s, bro. They probably went to the same high school.
Nah. If your mom is from Virginia, my mom was born in
I'm
Baltimore.
joking. I'm joking.
My grandmother's my grandmother's from Danville, Virginia. So my grandmother's from Danville, Virginia. My grandfather's from a little further south in North Carolina. So we have roots in those places. So, but my mother was born up here. But nonetheless, I just think, like my mom, when I look at the process of supporting and raising your parents and how you support them. So my grandmother is 96. So my grandmother's 96, still in her right state of mind. Call on the phone. If I called her I can't call her right now. She's gonna be asleep right now. But nonetheless, if I called her, my grandmother, if I call her and be like, "What's up?" or if I'm trying to talk, she's always just as sharp, just as witty. She's still doing crossword puzzles. She still has her coherent conversation. So when I look at my grandmother, I look at her as someone that when I'm talking to my kids, is like, that's what I envision strength to be. I envision you being that. And that's why, like I said, I know everybody has a different experience. But for my mom tried to rush her aging. She was with a gentleman. Her and Mr. Melvin was together for 28 years. And when they were together, Mr. Melvin was much older than her. And so he passed away. When he passed away in around 2010, it was almost like a piece of her was lost. And so she's kind of resigned herself to almost being, you would think my mother was older than my grandmother. So she gave me the power of attorney. She did all of that stuff for me. But when I would go to the doctors, her doctor would tell her, "You're not an octogenarian," if I'm saying that right. But he's like, "You're not 80. Like, you're not, stop acting as if somehow you're older than what you are." But I think inside her spirit felt like when she lost that large piece of her, she aged herself that way. And so while I don't have to physically take care of her, from an emotional standpoint, it's being respectful of where she's chosen to be, but also realizing she's in a much better state. So she's not even bad, doing really bad right now. But when I look at that older process, as you guys were encouraging people to take care of themselves and all of these different things.
We lost him.
The one thing I know, I want to sharp mind because I'm reading. She stays reading. She's just done things to keep herself fit that way. Physically, of course, the getting up and down the stairs, that's something different. But I would encourage each one of us on this phone, and I know because I'm particular, but stay as active and mobile from a physical standpoint, even if it's going out, taking walks, it's doing those things. We take that stuff for granted. But I think the more sedentary we are, it doesn't mean you're going to stop. And I'm not talking about Alzheimer's thing. That's not something you stop. But from a physical standpoint, where I line up with you, Damien, enjoying your life, getting out, doing things, making sure you show them that, like, the one thing I see with that, like resigning or the danger of resigning, is you stop. And I don't ever want to stop. And so for me, when I look at my mom, when I try to get her to do things, I want her to do things because it's like last year on her birthday, I brought her a meal, took it to her house, was going to sit down with her and my grandmother to eat. She's like, "Okay, I'm going to take mine and I'm going to go home." I met them at my grandmother's house and she was like, "I'm just going to go home." It's like, you got to stop getting into that place of you just want to kind of stay there. I think the way I look at aging is I have 2 grandkids. Everything they're doing, I'm going to do. There's not one thing that's not like I'm not I'm not. I don't consider myself, like I say, I'm my age. I will never deny what the age that I am. I'm thankful for all 51 years, and
Yeah.
don't want to push not one of them back. But I don't feel like I'm going to age gracefully in the manner of I'm not resigned to feeling like I'm old. I'm not resigned to thinking somehow life is going to kick my butt. When I look at my grandmother, I'm like, she's intact. That's my role model. She's somebody I'm aspiring to. So while all of the things that you guys said, I agree with, I would just add that one caveat of stay mobile, man. The physical nature of who we are is a big portion of that contributes to our overall mental health, our overall well-being, and our psyche. And sometimes we take that for granted while we're doing the rest of those things, and it's almost like we're resigned to get to this place of age when it's like, you can do something simple. You don't have to do all of the things but you can do something simple to maintain.
We ain't asked you to hoop.
Be around
play basketball.
Say it again.
So we ain't asked you to hoop. We ain't asked you to hoop, run up and down the court.
I'm not asking you to lift. I'm not asking you to, but when I see people and I watch people at certain places, my thought is aging gracefully to me is I watch videos and YouTube and all this stuff. I'm watching people in their 70s who look good and talk about what they do and all that. That's what I aspire to. It's just I it's not me fighting it, because like I said, you can't. Some things are hereditary, some things are like that, and so that's why I say, like I say, I'm respectful of everything that everyone has said, and realizing like, hey, because that's a tougher part of life that I particularly haven't experienced. But like I said, I just wanted to add, if you can, while doing the trust, the will, and all of those other good things, take care of yourself right now, man. Grow with the expectation of being with them as long as you can, because I'm not, like I say, we always talk about speaking things into existence. I've been saying since my daughters were young, and since before my daughter had her sons, nah, man, I'm gonna be 80 still stronger than you. I'm gonna be doing this, and that's my expectation, and that's my plan, and that's what I'm aiming for, and ain't no stopping. So I just think
look
there's different ways.
At our age now.
Say it again.
Look how great we look at our age now.
Exactly. Keep it going. When we check in as the four wise as old men, we're a little bit older.
You know what I'm saying?
So my plan is for them to look at me and be like, "How old are you again?" Exactly.
Right.
That's real. That's real. I just went to my grandmother's 94th birthday, and she's just as you described your grandmother. Sharp, still looking amazing. Her mobility is limited, but she's still like, up to like 4 years ago, was going on cruises every year, and in all of these groups with her peers, on the co-op board and everything for her building. So yeah, staying active, even if it's not physically active, just active period, so you can utilize your brain. A lot of people get in a sedentary lifestyle and then don't challenge themselves intellectually, and she's on top of it. Just like you said, she can remember, I remember when you were a little boy and you had that green shirt on and blah blah blah. And I'm like, bro, I didn't have no green shirt on. And she pulls out the pictures and she's like, look, this is you in my kitchen. And I'm like, wow, how do you remember all of that?
Sure.
You know what I mean? But
they keep
definitely.
they keep their brains active, man. I just think that there are other pieces to it. And once again, that's not taking away from any malady that comes upon you that you cannot control. But when you're in your right faculties, I think preparing for, just like you're preparing for everything else, prepare that way as well. And that's something that we can give as a gift to our children, so that we're here with them as long as we possibly can be. So
yeah,
that's my wisdom enough.
There we go. Right. Good way to end.
Exactly. And with that, the four wise men is out of here. Peace, fellas.